I'd like to take a few minutes to suggest what you stand to gain from a no vote. First and foremost, it gives you this. Salt Spring, the island home we all treasure. Voting no means that you are affirming that you want to keep Salt Spring safe from the risks of overdevelopment, from the steady erosion of a rural way of life, and from being governed by what will ultimately become an impoverished municipal council, one that concentrates all the power into the hands of a small group of individuals. Now, as many of you know, roads are a big ticket item on Salt Spring. They were the key factor leading to the rejection of incorporation in the last referendum. When you look at the numbers and understand what road costs and liabilities will mean to your property taxes, there's no mystery as to why voters said no in 2002. More than $50 million are needed to maintain and repair the island's aging road network. The consultants who wrote the final report on the incorporation study have underestimated the true costs. They lowballed the annual figure at $500,000 to repair our roads to present standards through to 2028. This is a gross underestimate when compared to historic costs, which have been shown to be closer to $900,000 annually. Contrary to the report's repeated statements, the Ministry of Transportation has consistently spent more on Salt Springs roads annually than we have contributed for roads through the provincial rural property tax. There is no question that paying for the necessary road work will inevitably lead to hundreds of dollars more in annual property taxes for residents, businesses, and farms. Quite simply, the Salt Spring Island Road network costs are beyond the capacity of a small rural community to absorb. Now, oddly enough, what you get with a no vote are the very things the yes side claims don't currently exist. For example, local decision-making, local control. Decisions are made by Salt Springers, and we exercise local control in a number of ways. Firstly, we make all our own land use decisions in a system which carefully separates those decisions from the delivery of community services and facilities. This is a key point in understanding the advantages of a no vote. You get the benefit of a unique local governance model unimpeded by the need to raise revenues to pay for services and amenities, a need which inevitably leads down the road of development. This uncoupling of land use decisions by the island's trust from the provision of services stands at the heart of Salt Spring's success as a community. The local trust committee writes local land use bylaws that comply with the trust mandate, as opposed to a municipality where other broader demands are taken into account. We make our own spending decisions for facilities such as the library, the pool, the fire hall, and public transit by referendum. Compare this with a municipal government which could borrow and go into debt, sometimes without any voter approval. So, in summary, with a no vote, you get a more democratic form of governance, as opposed to one with a concentration of power lying in the hands of a few, with accountability to the people only once every 4 years. You also get the only planned green governance system in Canada. It is a form of governance that invites you to participate in the stewardship of the natural environment, so it can be preserved for all British Columbians in perpetuity. This would be in jeopardy under incorporation. A municipality is not legally bound to comply with the decisions of the trust, contrary to persistent claims made by the yes side. So ask yourself, is it in the interests of my community is it in my interest to cast aside a visionary model of governance more in tune with the needs of 21st century planning in favor of an outdated, cumbersome, and costly urban model that is in financial trouble from coast to coast? I believe the answer to that is no, it is not. With a no vote, you benefit from the continuation and celebration of a rural culture and support for our farmers and food producers. The rural nature of our island is directly attributable to the preserve and protect mandate of the island's trust. If that is significantly weakened, as it will be under incorporation, we lose a vital part of who we are as a community. Some farmlands could be lost due to the pressure for development, and farming will become more expensive because of higher taxation on farm properties. The push to remove land from the agricultural land reserve for development is already happening in municipalities in the Lower Mainland and elsewhere. With a no vote, you have the potential to continue to receive more grants and funding than other municipal communities of comparable size. Since 2001, our community has received more than $60 million in grants. With a municipal form of governance, there will be no guarantees of additional grant money. Remember, eligibility for grants does not mean automatic success in receiving those grants. There is fierce competition for limited funds among BC's 162 municipalities. So what happens when the funding doesn't come through? Costs for roads, police, fire, and water still have to be met. This again will put pressure on the municipal council to raise revenue from residential and commercial development to expand the tax base. That means you will be paying a lot more to live here. You've heard a lot about our fire and water districts recently. Both are essential community services that are provided by improvement districts. The fire district is considering its options, while the North Salt Spring Water District thinks incorporation will solve all its current woes. With a no vote, the community gets to explore alternative options for the management of these services, as well as access to grants, without assuming the higher costs and risks of incorporation. Alternatives such as converting to a CRD commission or contracting services to the CRD. These viable options only exist as choices with a no vote. Change is possible within our existing form of governance. There are low-cost and low-risk options to enhance what we have today. A no vote gives you the benefit of choice. The promise of change for the better, promoted by the yes side, is a mirage. And the only change incorporation will bring is regressive in nature. Remember, incorporation is the end of the story. There's no turning back. So I would ask this of you. If on September the 9th you still have residual doubt and uncertainty, do the smart thing and vote no. Give yourself a future with choices. Then join with those fellow islanders already committed to making our governance system stronger and to keeping Salt Spring the exceptional, vibrant, and sustainable community we're all proud to call home. Thank you for your attention.